All right. Started watching the Kamala Makes You Holla. It's only 26 minutes from what I can see. There might be a more full version, but I'm just watching what I can find on YouTube. And we'll see. We'll see what's going on. Just talking about the border crisis right now.
And when you came into office, your administration immediately reversed a number of Trump border policies. Most significantly, the policy that required illegal immigrants to be detained through deportation,
I'm making food, by the way,
in the U.S. or in Mexico. And you switched that policy. They were released from custody awaiting trial. So instead, included in those were a large number of single men, adult men, who went on to commit heinous crimes. So, looking back, do you regret the decision to terminate Remain in Mexico at the beginning of your administration?
At the beginning of our administration, within practically hours of taking the oath, the first bill that we offered Congress.
She is so snooty.
We worked on infrastructure, before the Inflation Reduction Act, before the Chips and Science Act, before the bipartisan Safer Communities
She's
Act.
awful. I can't even listen to her, but I'm tolerating this for you.
Within hours of taking the oath was a bill to fix our immigration system.
Yes, ma'am. It was called the U.S. Citizenship Act of 2021.
Exactly.
It was essentially a pathway to citizenship for the... Yes, ma'am.
May I finish responding, please?
But
you have to let me finish.
You had the White House and the House and the Senate, and they didn't bring up that bill.
I'm in the middle of responding to the point you're raising, and I'd like to finish.
Yes, ma'am.
We recognized from day one that, to the point of this being your first question, it is a priority for us as a nation and for the American people. And our focus has been on fixing a problem. And from day one then, we have done a number of things, including to address our asylum system and put more resources, getting more judges, what we needed to do to tighten up penalties and increase penalties for illegal crossings, what we needed to do to deal with points of entry between border entry points. That's the work we did, and we worked on supporting what was a bipartisan effort, including some of the most conservative members of the United States Congress, to actually strengthen the border. That border bill would have put 1,500 more border agents at the border, which is why I believe the Border Patrol agents supported the bill. It would have allowed us to stem the flow of fentanyl coming into the United States, which is a scourge affecting people of every background, every geographic location in our country, killing people. It would have allowed us to put more resources into prosecuting transnational criminal organizations, which I have done as the former Attorney General of a border state.
Madam Vice President, a couple of things.
Prosecuted trafficking of drugs, guns, and human beings. And
trying to give her a chance.
But let me just finish.
6 Democrats voted against that bill.
Learned about that bill and told them to kill it because he preferred to run on a problem instead of fixing a problem. And in this election, this is rightly a discussion that the American people want to have. And what they want are solutions, and they want a president of the United States who's not playing political games with the issue, but actually is focused on fixing it.
6 Democrats voted against that bill. It would have allowed 1.8 million illegal immigrants into the country a year. A lot of conservatives had a problem with it. These are the 6 Democrats. But more importantly, back to the original premise, Jocelyn Nungari, Rachel Morin, Laken Riley, they are young women who were brutally assaulted and killed by some of the men who were released at the beginning of the administration.
Fox News.
A negotiated
interview with Brett Baer.
Former President Clinton actually referred to Laken Riley's son.
Uber 96 is Georgia saying
if those men had been properly vetted, Laken Riley probably would not have been killed. So if it wouldn't have happened, this is well before any negotiation. This is well before Donald Trump got involved in the politics. This is a specific policy decision by your administration to release these men into the country. So what I'm saying to you, do you owe those families an apology?
Let me just say, first of all, those are tragic cases. There's no question about that. There's no question about that. And I can't imagine the pain that the families of those victims have experienced for a loss that should not have occurred. So that is true. It is also true that if a border security had actually been passed 9 months ago, it would be 9 months that we would have had more border agents at the border, more support for the folks who are working around the clock trying to hold it all together
Madam Vice President.
to ensure that no future harm would occur. And this election in 20 days will determine whether we have a president of the United States who actually cares more about fixing a problem, even if it is not to their political advantage in an election, because there was a solution, Brett.
Madam Vice President, it was a policy decision in the early part of your administration. I will let one of the mothers talk about it. Take a listen.
Because of the Biden-Harris administration open border policies catch and release, they were enrolled in the Alternatives to Detention program. This meant that they were released into the United States. It was not even a full 3 weeks later that they would take my daughter, Jocelyn Nungare's life. I believe the Biden-Harris administration open border policies are responsible for the death of my daughter.
That's the early days. So do you owe them an apology is what
I
I'm
will
saying.
tell you that I am so sorry for her loss. I am so sorry for her loss. Sincerely. But let's talk about what is happening right now with an individual who does not want to participate in solutions. Let's talk about that as well.
But do you want to answer
in all
her?
fairness, I told you, I feel awful for what she and her family have experienced.
During that time, you said repeatedly that the border was secure. When in your mind did it start becoming a crisis?
I think we've had a broken immigration system transcending, by the way, Donald Trump's administration even before. Let's all be honest about that. I have no pride in saying that this is a perfect immigration system. I've been clear, I think we all are, that it needs to be fixed. We need more. I was just down at the border talking with border agents, and they will tell you, and I'm sure you probably, I know you investigate and you are a serious journalist. They will tell you, we need more judges. We need to process those cases faster. We need the support for those cases that should be prosecuted. They need more resources, and Congress ultimately is the only place that's going to get fixed, Brett.
Well,
that's how this system works.
That's the premise of this question.
But
There were
that's how the
90
system
plus
works.
executive orders that were rescinded in the first days. Many of those were Trump border policies.
right.
I'm not going to stay here because there's other things to talk about, but you frequently talk to the Border Patrol Union. For
All right,
support of that
subscribe now.
bipartisan
We need
bill,
more
and they did.
subscribers,
They
but-
supported it. But they also just endorsed Donald Trump and said, you've been, quote, a failure with border security. Why do you think they said that?
I think they're frustrated, and I get
Yeah,
it.
the bill was gonna
They want
send,
support.
yeah, I agree with that.
They want support, and that's what that border security bill would have done. These guys down at the border, these
That
men
border
and women,
security
they're
bill
working hard.
was a
They're
terrible
working around the
bill.
clock. I
It's
get
chock
it.
full of garbage
There's a
funding
lot
that
of
would
people
have
that
to
look
go to
back at
like,
what you said in 2019 when you first.
there's a
announced
reason it
this.
got shot down.
And there have been changes, and you've talked about some of them. When it comes to immigration, you supported allowing immigrants in the country illegally to apply for driver's license, to qualify for free tuition at universities, to be enrolled in free health care. Do you still support those things?
Listen, that was 5 years ago, and I'm very clear that I will follow the law. I have made that statement over and over again, and as Vice President of the United States, that's exactly what I've done, not to mention before.
If that's the case, you chose a running mate, Tim Walz, governor of Minnesota, who signed those very things into state law. So do you support that?
All right, so we got 5
We
votes.
are
Did Kamala
very
Harris
clear,
win this
and I am
interview?
very clear, as is Tim Walz.
40% say
that
yes,
we
she won.
must support and enforce federal law.
20% say
And
no.
that is exactly what we will do.
40% say undecided. Oh,
So
now it's 6 votes.
decriminalizing border crossings. like you said
33%
in
across the board.
2019.
33, 33,
I do
33.
not believe in
deadlock tie.
decriminalizing border crossings, and I've not done that as vice president. I will not do that as president.
So these are
I- and-
evolutions that
but-
you've had.
But let's be very clear. I'm the only person who's running for president who has prosecuted
Yeah.
transnational criminal organizations, from the Sinaloa
Yeah,
cartel
Kamala's so
to the
terrible.
Guadalajara cartel to people who have trafficked in guns, drugs, and human beings. I have spent a significant part of my career going after people who present a threat to the safety of
I
the
understand what
American
you're saying,
people
Connor. I appreciate your
and,
chat.
and cross our border with the intent of doing us harm and cross our border illegally. And I will do that work as vice president.
Corn
I
Pop,
take
you're right
that
though.
work
There was a lot
quite
of shit.
seriously.
There was a lot of
This is a
crap in
time
that
when
bill.
voters, especially
That bill
here
is
in
garbage.
Pennsylvania, are
Oh, yeah.
inundated with commercials and ads. They just want it to stop because it's every commercial. But many of them add noise, but a few of them seem to break through. This particular one from the Trump campaign has gotten a lot of attention.
Kamala supports taxpayer-funded sex changes for prisoners.
Surgery.
For prisoners.
For prisoners. Every transgender inmate in the prison system would have access.
So are you still in support of using taxpayer dollars to help prison inmates or detained illegal aliens to transition to another gender?
I will follow the law, and it's a law that Donald Trump actually followed. You're probably familiar with, now it's a public report, that under Donald Trump's administration, these surgeries were available on a medical necessity basis to people in the federal prison system. And I think, frankly, that ad from the Trump campaign is a little bit of like throwing, stones when you're living in a glass house.
The Trump aides say that he never advocated for that prison policy and no gender transition
Well,
surgeries
you know what, you got to
happened
take
during
responsible for what
his
happened in your
presidency.
administration.
Yeah, no surgeries happened in this presidency.
It's in black and white.
Would you still advocate for using taxpayer dollars for gender reassessment
I will
surgeries?
follow the law, just as I
But you have a
think
say
Donald
in
Trump would
this.
say he did.
You would have a say as president.
Like I said, I think he spent $20 million on those ads, trying to create a sense of fear in the voters because he actually has no plan in this election that is about focusing on the needs of the American people. Whereas, at $20 million on that ad, on an issue that, as it relates to the biggest issues that affect the American people, it's really quite remote. And again, his policy was no different. Look at where we are, though.
They say it
On
was
plans for
different,
the
but let's-
American
we'll
people,
move on.
I'm offering a plan to deal with affordable housing. I'm offering a plan to deal with what we need to do to strengthen small businesses, which are the backbone of America's economy.
Why did
I am
you-
offering a plan that is about
I mean-
taking care of young parents and giving them the support they need. My plans for the economy will strengthen the economy, as have been reviewed by 16 Nobel laureates, Goldman Sachs, Moody's, and recently the Wall Street Journal, which have all studied our plans and have indicated my plans for our economy would strengthen our economy, his would make them weaker,
Why do you
would
think more
ignite
people say-
inflation and invite a recession by the middle of next year. Those are the facts.
Why do you think more people say they trust him on the economy than they trust you?
I think that when you look at an analysis of our plans for what we would do as President of the United States, it has been clear to those who study and understand how economic policy works that moving forward, because I do believe the American people are ready to turn the page
She's
on the
lying,
divisiveness
lying.
and the type of rhetoric that has come out of Donald Trump. People are ready
The only
to chart
rhetoric
their way
I see
forward.
is this
They want a
bullshit right
president
here.
who has a plan for the future and a plan that is sound and will
All right,
strengthen.
I was going to pause this real quick. So, from what I've been able to tell, first off, she's been in politics for too long. She's so good at saying nothing. Second, yeah, Brett is just tired of her BS, so he's kind of like, okay, well, this exists. And the reason, the bill, she needs to stop saying that it was a good bill. The border bill that she was referring to. Not a good bill. There was all sorts of legal crap chalked into it, all sorts of other funding that would have had to, all sorts of money that would have had to been basically printed to fund the Ukraine, I believe, last time I checked. You might want to fact check me on that, I might be wrong. But anyway, a lot of those bills, there's a reason that they're shot down in Congress. It's because they're crap. Anyway, I'm going to let Kamala keep talking while I stir the spaghetti. And I'm going to eat after. I'm listening still, but,
Within our country. My plan for the economy does exactly that. His plan would be, again, to give tax cuts to billionaires and the biggest corporations in our country and blow up our deficit.
It's interesting you said turn the page, Madam Vice President. You were asked on 2 different shows last week what, if anything, you would do differently than President Biden. Here's what you said.
Would you have done something differently than President Biden during the past 4 years?
There is not a thing that comes to mind in terms of, and I've been a part of most of the decisions that have had impact.
Under a Harris administration, what would the major changes be, and what would stay the same?
Sure. Well, I mean, I'm obviously not Joe Biden.
I know.
And so that would be one change in terms of, but also I think it's important to say with, 28 days to go, I'm not Donald Trump.
So, you're not Joe Biden, you're not Donald Trump, but nothing comes to mind that you would do differently?
Let me be very clear. My presidency will not be a continuation of Joe Biden's presidency. And like every new president that comes in to office, I will bring my life experiences, my professional experiences, and fresh and new ideas. I represent a new generation of leadership. I, for example, am someone who has not spent the majority of my career in Washington, D.C. I invite ideas, whether it be from the Republicans who are supporting me, who were just on stage with me minutes ago, and the business sector, and others who can contribute to the decisions that I make about, for example, my plan for increasing the supply of housing in America and bringing down the cost of housing, addressing the issue of small businesses, which is about working with the private sector to bring more capital and access to capital to our small business leaders, including my plan for a $25,000 down payment assistance for first-time home buyers and for small businesses, extending the tax deduction from $5,000 to $50,000.
We've heard a lot about those plans in recent days. Your campaign slogan is a new way forward, and it's time to turn the page. You've been vice president for 3.5 years, so what are you turning the page from?
Well, first of all, turning the page from the last decade in which we've been burdened with the kind of rhetoric coming from Donald Trump that has been designed and implemented to divide our
That's
country.
a cop-out, dude. You know
and have
fucking
Americans
Biden
literally
sucks, dude.
point fingers at each
Bitch,
other.
you know Biden sucks.
Rhetoric and an approach to leadership
You
that
know
suggests that
Biden
the strength of
sucks
a leader
ass,
is based
dude.
on who
Come
you
on.
beat down instead of what we all know. The strength of leadership is based on who you lift up.
But you-
The strength of an
Madam
American president, which is one who understands that the vast majority of us have more in common than what separates us.
Madam
That
Vice
is
President, more than
turning the page.
70% of people
That is
tell
about turning the
pollsters-
page on rhetoric that people are frankly exhausted of, Brett.
More than
People are
70% of people
exhausted.
tell the country is on the wrong track. They say the country is on the wrong track. If it's on the wrong track, that track follows 3.5 years of you being vice president and President Biden being president. That is what they're saying, 79% of them. Why are they saying that? If you're turning the page, you've been in office for 3.5 years.
And Donald Trump has been running for office.
But you've been the person
Come
holding
on,
the office.
Come on.
Madam
You
Vice
and I
President.
both know what I'm talking about. You and I both know what I'm talking about.
I actually don't. What are you talking about?
What I'm talking about is that over the last decade,
But you're
people
the
have
lever of
become,
power.
but listen, over the last decade, it is clear to
All right,
me,
9
and
votes.
certainly the Republicans who are on
33%.
stage with me,
Oh,
the
30% say yes.
former chief of staff to the president,
50%
Donald Trump,
say no.
former defense
20%
secretaries,
say undecided.
national security advisor, and his vice president. One, that he is unfit to serve, that he is unstable, that he is dangerous, and that people are exhausted with someone who professes to be a leader who spends full time demeaning and engaging in personal grievances and it being about him
Madam
instead
Vice
of
President,
the American people.
If
People
that's the
are
case-
tired of that.
If that's the case, why is half the country supporting him? Why is he beating you in a lot of swing states? Why, if he's as bad as you say, that half of this country is now supporting this person who could be the 47th president of the United States? Why is that happening?
This is an election for president of the United States. It's not supposed to be easy.
I know, but
It's not supposed to be. It is not supposed to be a
So
cakewalk
are they misguided,
for
the
anyone.
50%?
Listen,
Are they
I'm-
stupid?
Oh,
What is
God,
it?
I would never say that about the American people. And in fact, if you listen to Donald Trump, if you watch any of his rallies, he's the one who tends to demean and belittle and diminish the American people. He's the one who talks about an enemy within.
That was
An
pretty good, by the
enemy
way.
within.
Skinny.
Talking about the American people, suggesting he would turn the American military on the American people.
We asked that question to the former president today. Harris Faulkner had a town hall, and this is how he responded.
I heard about that. I was like threatening. I'm not threatening anybody. They're the ones doing the threatening. They do phony investigations. I've been investigated more than Alphonse Capone. He was the greatest gangster. No, it's true. No, but think of it. It's called weaponization of government. It's a terrible thing.
So,
Brett, I'm sorry, and with all due respect, that clip was not what he has been saying about the enemy within that he has repeated when he's speaking about the American people. That's not what you just showed.
Kamala, you're fucking
No,
lying.
that's
You're
not what you
lying,
just
bitch.
showed. In all
no,
fairness and
I'm telling
respect
you,
to
that was the question that we asked him.
He didn't show that, and here's the bottom line. He has repeated it many times, and you and
Kamala's
I
a
both
fucking
know
liar,
that.
dude.
And you and I
And
both
she's so
know
good at saying
that he's
nothing.
talked about turning the American military on the American people. He has talked about going after people who are engaged in peaceful protest. He has talked about locking people up because they disagree with him. This is a democracy. And in a democracy, the President of the United States, in the United States of America, should be willing to be able to handle criticism without saying he'd lock people up for doing it. And this is what is at stake, which is why you have someone like the former chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff saying what Mark Milley has said about Donald Trump being a threat to the United States of America.
He's quoted in the Bob Woodward book that way, yes. Let me ask you this, Madam Vice President. You call Donald Trump, you call Donald Trump, he's misguided. You say now
he's unstable. He is unstable, Brett.
He's not well. You say he's mentally not stable.
He's not stable.
Let me ask you this. You told many interviewers that Joe Biden was on his game, that ran around circles on his staff. When did you first notice that President Biden's mental faculties appeared diminished?
Oh!
Joe Biden.
Fuck yeah, dude.
I have watched from the Oval Office to the Situation Room.
Screw
and
you,
he has the judgment and the experience to do exactly what he has done in making very important decisions on behalf of the American people. Joe Biden is not on the ballot.
I understand.
And Donald Trump
but
is.
You talked about it.
And Donald Trump
After George Clooney said within a few minutes of talking to President Biden at a fundraiser that he thought this was not the same Joe Biden that we saw on the debate stage.
Donald Trump is on the ballot.
I understand. You met with him at least once a week for 3.5 years. You didn't have any concerns?
I think the American people have a concern about Donald Trump, which is why the people who know him best, including leaders of our national security community, have all spoken out. Even people who worked for him in the Oval Office, worked with him in the Situation Room, and have said he is unfit and dangerous and should never be president of the United States again, including his former vice president, which is why the job was open for him to choose another running mate. So that is a fact. That is a fact.
Madam Vice President, two more things. You were asked on 60 Minutes about the biggest threat that the world faces, that the U.S. faces. This is what you said.
Which foreign country do you consider to be our...
The 60 Minutes interview.
I think there's an obvious one in mind, which is Iran. Iran has American blood on their hands, okay? This attack on Israel, 200 ballistic missiles. What we need to do to ensure that Iran never achieves the ability to be a nuclear power, that is one of my highest priorities.
A number of experts thought you would say China. The FBI director had said that. But you said Iran. If that's the case, what do you say to critics who look at the actions of your administration and say you're not acting like Iran is the #1 threat?
Well, I will tell you most recently, whether it was in April or in October, in the several hours on each occasion that Iran posed a threat to Israel, I was there. Most recently in the Situation Room, in the most recent attack, working with the heads of our military and doing what America must always do to defend and to support Israel in its requirement to defend itself and to give American support to be able to allow Israel to have the resources to defend itself against attack, including from Iran and Iran's terrorist proxies in the region.
Right.
And
But
that
those
is,
proxies were getting
and
funded by
my
Iran.
commitment to that is unyielding and unwavering.
Critics just say that you either relaxed or failed to enforce sanctions on Iran, allowing all of this money to flow into Iran, like billions
Let's
in
go back to
oil
Donald
profits.
Trump,
Hold on.
who pulled out of a deal that would have actually put
But here are
Iran in check.
the estimates
and
in
then
billions
it was during Donald Trump's
that go
administration
towards
that
the Iran regime.
that we had an American military base that was attacked, where American soldiers suffered traumatic brain injuries, and Donald Trump dismissed them as headaches. Not to mention
Madam
how
Vice
Donald
President,
Trump has
all of this money
has treated
that
and
has
talked
gone
about
in the past
America's
few
military
years.
and military service people,
Critics
calling
say
them
that it goes to
suckers and
Hezbollah,
losers,
Hamas,
has diminished
and
the
Houthis. We're
significance.
talking over each other. I apologize.
But
you're not-
I would like that we would have a conversation
Boo, fuck you,
that is
Kamala.
grounded in
Dude, Kamala sucks so
full
much fucking
assessment
ass,
of the
dude.
facts,
Fuck you, bitch.
which includes, I think this interview is supposed to be about the choices that your viewers should be presented about this election, and the contrast is important.
Yes, ma'am.
And on
we-
the subject of Iran, I am offering what should be an important contrast that is presented for folks to make a
And there
decision
are
that
critics
they
who
feel.
look at what the administration did and say and think differently. Madam Vice President, they're wrapping me very hard here. I hope you got to say what you wanted to say about Donald Trump. There are a lot of things
There's more to say. I have
there,
much
there
more to
are
say,
a lot of
actually.
things that people want to learn about you and your policies, and
Yes.
that's why we
I
invited
invite
you
everyone to go to kamalaharris.com, and you will see that I have 80 pages of policies that are quite comprehensive and should be accessible to anyone who would like to read them. And it includes what I intend to do about affordable housing, what I intend to do about small businesses, what I do
And that's why
intend
we
to do to
invited you
strengthen our
here,
economy.
to see where you were in 2019 and
to
where you are
support
now.
America's military and ensure we have the most lethal and best fighting force in the world.
Madam Vice President,
And
they're giving me a hard rap
well,
here.
I thank you for the time.
I thank you for the time.
It's good to meet you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Hey, Sean Hannity here. Hey, click here to subscribe to Fox News YouTube page and catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You will not get it anywhere else.
Got heated during his weekly radio appearance on 105.3 The Fan after being asked if his team's lack of aggressiveness in the off-season played a part in their 3-3 start. The Cowboys owner even appeared, I'm not even sure it's appeared, clearly threatened the jobs of the hosts of the show. Here was the moment.
Now, if you think I'm interested on a damn phone call with you over radio and sitting here and throwing all the good out with the dishwater, you have got to be smoking something over there this morning. This is not your job. Your job isn't to let me go over all the reasons that I did something and I'm sorry that I did it. That's not your job. So I'll get somebody else to ask these questions, man.
Jerry, we're trying to figure out why the team is.
I'm not kidding. I'm not kidding. You're not going to figure out what the team is doing right or wrong. If you are, or any 5 or 10 like you, you need to come to this meeting I'm going to today. There are 32 teams here. You're geniuses. Don't really think you're going to sit here with a microphone and tell me all of the things that I've done wrong and without going over the rights. You want some conversation this morning? You're getting it.
So the hosts of the show are, I hope I'm pronouncing this right, Shan Sheriff, RJ Choppy, and Bobby Belt. We got that right at the end of our show yesterday, and so we commented on it briefly. The more times I listen to it, the more uncomfortable it becomes.
Yeah, I mean, he's obviously frustrated, and to lash out at them for asking very...
Okay, so I listened to that interview while I was doing a little bit of the getting spaghetti all figured out. What in the hell, man? But dude, that was unbelievable. Sincerely, like I don't. That was a shitty interview, man. Like, dude, she is bad. Like, anybody who watched that and thinks that she is going to be the next president needs to just get a bit of a reality check. Yeah, this was awful, man. She did. After watching that, I don't know how anybody could vote for her. Like, if anybody actually watched the interview, she comes across as she's just rude, like in an annoying way. There's rude in a. I think honestly, there's a good way to be rude, a fun way. But she just seemed annoying. She's basically copying all of Biden's policies. She's Biden with boobs, is what I'm trying to say. She's Biden with tits, and that's pretty much what that should be Kamala's headline. I'm not Joe Biden. I'm Joe Biden with tits, is what her headline should be for her political ads, because there is not a lot of difference besides the fact that she's female, and and all the other shit. Hell, I might even want Biden. No, I don't. I don't want 4 more years of Biden. I don't want 4 years of Harris either. She's a part of a failed administration. Not just failing now and failed administration. Joe Biden will go down as one of the worst presidents of all time, and she'll go down as probably one of the worst vice presidents of all time. I hope that the American people are not stupid. They might be. Some of them. I do think it is dumb to vote for Kamala Harris at this point. She's already proven that she's going to just wreck the economy just like Joe Biden did, and it's just going to be ugly. One vote. Here, I'm going to take you guys with me here. One moment. I'm going to take you guys with me here. All right, so I figured I'll talk about the how terrible that interview is while I'm cooking, stirring the spaghetti. The spaghetti. So, that was terrible. That was just bad. And, I can't. That was so fucking bad, dude. That was rough. Let's see. Special Spartan says, I believe in President Trump. His daughter is the most beautiful girl in the world. And if I was her dad, oh my God. Damn it. But no, I'm voting for Trump for sure. It's just like, I don't see, you take one look at Kamala and all I could think of is just Biden. She was a part of the Biden administration. One of the worst administrations of all time. He is the worst president of all time, Joe Biden is. I think that if you liked Kamala, you're just basically probably voting for the second worst president of all time or the worst, one or the other. She might even be worse than Biden. I never thought I'd see the day. Yeah, it's funny. Democrats always seem to get the most incompetent people for vice presidency because the Democrats are all running on insecurity and they're all power hungry. They almost run as if it's a pirate ship, But it's crazy. Wild shit, man. But now we're all unified behind Trump, baby. Let's see. A red flannel. Oh my God. He's talking about my boy Ants again. So MG240's talking about my boy Anthony. I know Anthony's got long hair. Man, this spaghetti's looking good, man. So this is pretty thin spaghetti. So for the most part, it's pretty thin. I might mix in a little bit of hot sauce with it. I'm thinking about going a little, maybe some Diablo sauce in there. But yeah, it's chili, really good. Lewis says that was an awesome interview. She showed her true colors, no pun intended. Yeah, that was rough, man. But no, she is wildly incompetent. Like it's the truth. Like, so MG240 says, "What's Anthony's OnlyFans?" I don't know. He probably has one though. I bet Anthony's probably hanging dong on OnlyFans. I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding, Ants. But lots of spaghetti, man. I gotta stir the spaghetti. But yeah, so I want to stir the spaghetti for a little longer. I'll let you guys argue in the chat real quick if you guys want to argue. But yeah, that was rough. Kamala koalas. Here we go. Woo! There we go. All right, letting it all sink in here real fast. And yep. All right. Special Spartan said one thing that Biden did that was pretty impressive was getting Marjorie Taylor Greene to pretend to be conservative. She's really good at making us seem crazy. But no, I can't wait to vote against Kamala. I want to vote for not Biden. Jesus Christ, Trump. Obviously, here's the thing. Oregon is so blue. It's unfortunate. So we're probably going to see a Kamala victory here in Oregon, but I'm still going out and I'm voting for Trump because I cannot in good conscience allow Kamala Harris to win. So all I could do is vote against her and encourage people to really see her for how incompetent and how terrible of a person she is, and to stop closing your eyes and hiding yourself from everything you see, because what you're seeing right now is not good. So I'm Cold is saying, do you have any baby oil? I'm White Diddy. What do you think? I'm White Diddy. All right? All right? My friends have been calling me White Diddy for years. Now I think I finally know why. But no. What do you think? No. Zephyr says she's running scared. Trump's crazy. Just ask all the peoples he's fired. Now she's saying Trump hates vets. Said there is a bunch of. Then she tells them to look it up. Dude, she is out of touch because she makes up so much crap. Dude, she has nothing that she can stand behind on her own. She's got all of her policies appease the left, the crazy left, and the people have woken up. The days of woke people are slowly deteriorating. People are realizing just how stupid woke people are, and that a vote for Kamala is a vote for woke people, is a vote for a woke administration, a vote for communism, basically collectivism. Collectivism doesn't work. And the problem with Kamala is she thinks the government can solve everything. And she also thinks the government should solve everything. And that is not true. That is not the way it should be. The government is not meant to be a money printing machine. It's not meant to be a service provider. It's meant to write legislation, meant to keep some order, but not to be an overbearing presence on the people. All right, we got 14 votes in. Subscribe now. Did Kamala Harris win this interview? 29% of you say yes. 50% of you say no. Hell yeah. I just don't know how anybody can look at that with a straight face, look at that interview, and say that she won. I just don't. So I'm not seeing it. Maybe there's something I'm just not noticing. But it's crazy. It's fucking crazy, man. That was just bad, dude. Oh, Tom Brady's officially a minority owner in the Raiders. Hell yeah. Crazy. Crazy, crazy, crazy. Yeah, it's a failed administration. What we're gonna see here is just pure failure. 50% of you have at least some sense in saying no, she did not win this interview. Obviously, she didn't. She's terrible. But I do want to see 21% of you are still undecided on that, but 29% of you say yes, she did. I still want to see more votes. By the way, please subscribe to the channel. The more subscribers we have, the better. We're trying our best to get more and more subs. We're trying to grow as a channel, and I think we can. But please subscribe. Anything you could do, anything you could provide, we appreciate it. Vin Diesel, Vaughn and Rain, Vaughn and Dwayne Reed. This line goes out the door. Yeah, this is really exciting times, man. I do think I'm glad that she's doing a media blitz where she's going from place to place. She was very hostile to Brett. I think he was asking reasonable questions, and I think that she just. I felt like she reacted poorly. I think Trump sometimes reacts poorly too, but she's just snotty. I think that's the difference. She's very snotty and dismissive. Trump has a very hands-on approach. He may not agree with you, but he's gonna really just be like, look, I don't agree with you because of this, this, and this. I felt like Kamala Harris danced around her reasonings for disagreeing, and she didn't give very good reasons for disagreeing with anything Brett said, really. Trying to think, but honestly, she's just bad. I just don't get it. I don't understand how people can look at their ballot and say, oh, she's a good choice. It's Biden. She's Biden with boobs. Joe Biden with tits. All right, that's what we're dealing with. Joe Biden with boobs. All right. So I'm really hoping that people kind of get it, but they're probably not. That's okay. But we're gonna watch me eat here in a second. But I'm gonna stir a little bit more, get a little lemonade real quick, and we'll get back to it. I think we're ready for a little bang. All right, we got a little bit of Calypso lemonade. Here we go. And we're ready to roll. Let's rock. All right. Ready? Cheers. So that was a great interview for Brett. Better than that, dude, that was rough. Kamala is terrible. She's proven again that she's just not the right candidate. I just really, I listen to her speak. I'm just like, dude, oh. She's really bad. Mm-mm-mm. Mm. Oh, this is so good. Mm. So I guess we're celebrating Kamala's victory. Kamala Harris won. No, she didn't. But I want to pretend like I'm a Kamala Koala for a bit. Piss a couple people off and troll. Mm. Mm. So this is chili spaghetti. I put a lot of mozzarella cheese in the chili. It's canned chili, basically. I cook canned chili in one pan, boil the noodles in a big old pot. And when I do that, I put a lot of mozzarella cheese in the chili, let that melt into the chili, stir it a little bit, and then I did pour that chili and that cheese, that melted chili cheese, everything, right into the pasta. After, of course, I've drained the pasta noodles and all that and stuff, and everything's good. But this is the final product. It's really good. To me, it's good at least. I don't know. It's really cheesy. Mm. I just love melting the cheese in it. Yeah, this is great. It really is a great dish. I think if you guys open your buttholes to it, you guys will like it. So Adam Kime says, Trump for spaghetti. Hell yeah. Mm. Mm. Really good, you guys. But yeah, I want to see what Tim Tool has to say. Tim Pool.
You've got half of the Gen Z being like, no way, for them to give them a future and city, all that stuff. Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yep.
I mean,
I'll tell you what, Bob. I'll tell you what.
Well, no, I mean, we have in this particular country solved hunger. The issue is, people. I hate to quote him, but as Jordan B. Peterson always says, they want to compare it to the hypothetical.
You have to do it in his voice. Yeah.
It's like, man, people are trying to compare this country to the hypothetical utopia in their mind and not reality. That's why it's all falling apart, man. But they're chimpanzees full of snakes. When I was in college, I had a conversation.
I'm Jordan Peterson. And clean your room.
2015.
It's not a good thing.
And we were all out to dinner, and there was a shooting in France. Some Islamic extremists.
Is this the Bataclan?
I believe so.
Watching a little Tim Pool eating spaghetti.
I remember looking at my phone, reading the death toll, seeing that it had increased, and I was horrified. I was, upset about it. And she said, "You're only upset because it's happening in a first world country." And I said, "Correct. because the entire world has been dangerous for all of history. And over the last 100 years, we've created small, isolated pockets where people can be safe and they don't have to worry about being killed in their day-to-day lives. And when those parts of the world become less safe, the third world doesn't become more safe, the whole world just gets less safe.
That's a good point.
Yeah. So basically, you admitted you were a bigot?
Yeah, exactly. It's bigoted to be concerned about the fact that the first world is becoming less safe and people are more likely to be murdered by radical Islamic extremists. That is bigotry. That's fascism.
War and conflict is the norm for Earth.
Yeah.
And we have had this, I guess 2 generations of prosperity. 3 now. I guess it's Gen X. Man, I got to give a shout out again to Dickie Bear, because I was saying this the other day on my morning show. I was talking to Dickie. He's the lead singer of Money Money Bust Downs. They broke up over his rejection of vaccine mandates, among other things. But that was basically it. So, he wrote the song "The Impression That I Get." You guys remember that song, right? He has this great line in it. I was talking to him about how I wish I introduced them on stage at Rescue the Republic, because I had this whole thing where I said, there's a line in the song, "I'm not a coward, I've just never been tested. I'd like to think that if I was, I would pass. See all the tested and think there, but for the grace go I. I'm not a coward, but I'm afraid of what I might find out." And as the story goes, I'll give you the simple version of the speech. When Dickie was working for ABC, he was the announcer for Jimmy Kimmel. They vaccine mandated their employees. And he said, this makes no sense. If I work remote, I'm not in studio, why do I have to do this? So I refuse. He got fired. A very high-paying, high-profile job. He refused to back down. And I told him, I said, bro, you were tested and you passed. Right? He wrote the song 30 years ago, and he was saying he didn't know if he was a coward or not, but it turns out he was not. And then he told me he wrote that song because his generation had no great conflict. Like the people who came before him had Vietnam. And he was thinking to himself that we grew up in this time where we didn't go fight. We didn't go to war. We just had it all. And so he was like, here I am, it's the 90s, and I'm thinking knock on wood that something like this happens to me. I've not had to deal with that. And I don't know how I would act if something like that actually did happen. So Gen Xers, Millennials, Gen Z, no conflict. Turmoil a little bit here and there, but that's not conflict.
And I think we've been programmed too, or at least our generation, to feel guilty for the amount of prosperity that we've had. There's that. I remember Louis C.K. was on Joe Rogan, and he was talking about how it's weird that we have it so good here. That's not right.
Yeah.
We have it so good here. It shouldn't be that way. There's
It's all woven with guilt. I mean,
Yeah.
with Seamus's anecdote, this girl is trying to sort of holier than thou respond to as if you are in the wrong for feeling sad that people are affected by a shooting or something horrible in France.
Mhm.
Well, but you should feel even worse because actually you don't feel guilty enough about the things that happen to people in places that are even more dangerous. I mean, it's a logic that is built on sort of self-flagellation always.
Yeah, exactly. And these are the
No
kinds
action,
of people.
notably.
These are the kinds of people like, don't you know that the last shoebill sandpiper is having its habitat destroyed for capital?
But they're not
"Oh,
gonna
who cares if people die? You only care because they're in the first world.
Right, they're also
They're
not
stepping
doing
on the turtle eggs. Yeah.
They're also not doing anything to preserve the rare whatever. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Like they want you to feel bad because they know about this thing, but have they donated to a cause? Have they built the correct habitat? No.
Exactly.
Honest question, what is it about people that they hate humans so much? So
they hate their fathers in a lot of instances.
We did this show a couple of years ago with the Daily Wire. Jeremy
God.
Boring was on the show, and he made a really great point that, this was here actually at our old studio. Jeremy's co-CEO of Daily Wire.
I honestly admit that's an interesting topic they just brought up, man. They're talking about, we do have it really good here in America. Don't get me wrong. It's quite, for as long as the world's been around, there has been conflict upon conflict upon conflict, so. That's some good points. This is slowly becoming a mukbang channel. I don't feel good about where this is going. Tim Smith says, Tim Smith is in the house. Woo! Tim Smith party. This just in, says Tim Smith. Brett Baer says there were 4 Kamala Harris staffers waving their hands back and forth to stop the interview. I'm talking like 4 people waving their hands like it's gotta stop. Oh my God. Yeah, because they realized, I think even her staffers realized that she is making herself look like a see you next Tuesday. And I think you all know what I'm trying to spell. Because she is a see you next Tuesday. Kamala Harris is not a nice person. She has, like, you could say what you want about Donald Trump being mean or whatever, but Kamala Harris is a ruthless see you next Tuesday. Here's the thing. She has had such a high turnover rate for her own personal staff. There are people who don't want to work under her because she's a ruthless piece of trash and she's a see you next Tuesday. That's the point. So, like, yeah, that's hilarious though, man. I had no idea. So that's why they were waving it down. Oh my God. Yeah, Kamala's awful, man. Oh man, I don't think I'll be able to eat all this, but cheers. Man. Truly crazy though, man. Truly crazy. Woo! All right, so let's take a look at the polls real quick. So we got 19 votes in. Make sure you guys subscribe to the channel. The more subscribers we get, the more of a middle finger we can give to YouTube for shadow banning us probably at one point. The more subscribers we get, the more relevant we are on the YouTube platform. That's how it works. YouTube is sadly a popularity contest, and I think I make decent content for sure. I've got good opinions that people don't appreciate, but they're hot takes for sure. But I got them. Tim Smith says, JD Vance just now to my Democratic friends, maybe you should consider swapping Kamala Harris for Joe Biden. That's hilarious, dude. I was talking to my dad earlier, and dude, that man has major Trump derangement syndrome. I think he hates Trump so much that he is willing to gaslight himself into thinking that Fox News interview that Kamala Harris did was actually good. It was not. That was not a good interview. Like, I just don't get it. I don't know how you can watch that interview and just say she did a good job. Tell me everybody, how did Kamala Harris do a good job on that interview? What was it about her, what she said, I don't know, anything. I'll take some positive shit. Tell me, people of the chat, what did Kamala Harris do that was so great during this interview? I'll try to be positive on this one. We'll look at the good. Probably silver. I had trouble finding. I think she. I'm trying to find something real quick. That was good. I honestly can't think of anything right now. No, I'm struggling. Okay, I don't know if I can really come with any true positive. I mean, she showed. Okay, I'll say one positive about the interview. She did show up. Wasn't a good interview, but she showed up and tried to defend herself. I'll give her props, but it was a poorly. She did a poor job. It was a terrible job. She is not who I want to run for president. She is not who I want to be president. And I hope that you guys all out there have the sense to realize that she's not a good pick for president. That was rough, man. Yeah. That's so crazy. Whew, I'm a hungry boy, you guys. Oh man, we got 19 votes, and like I said, 63% say. You guys are wondering, did Kamala Harris? By the way, subscribe to the channel. We need more subs, as many subs as we can get. But subscribe now. Did Kamala Harris win this interview? I don't think she did. I don't think she did at all. It's rough. It's really a bad interview, man. They call me witty. P. Diddy. Yeah, I think I'm full. I'll probably go to bed here in a bit. Oh man, but yep. So they call me witty. P. Diddy, no. I think the one thing that concerned me about that interview was the fact that she was unwilling to admit that the Biden-Harris administration failed as an administration. And that their policies are the ones that wrecked America. And now Kamala Harris wants to run on very similar policies, by the way. She's basically Joe Biden with tits. She's Biden with boobs. And I just want people to understand that. It's so simple. That was wild. Wild ass interview, man. Man, I don't know. I've just been thinking, just trying to let it all loose. You gotta be loose like a goose, you know. Times like these. That was a bad interview, man. That was rough. I was suddenly super tired. But you know what? Kamala makes you holla. Kamala is the real deal. But 60% of you say no, 25% of you say yes, 15% of you remain undecided on did she win this interview. I think it was rough. I think she just came across as snooty and annoying. I think she's still good at saying nothing. It's clear that she's saying nothing, but she skirts the issues. She gives unnecessarily long-winded answers to questions that really deserve a short answer for the most part, or at least doesn't have to be, well, she doesn't have to say a whole paper. Crazy. I mean, I would say that this interview ruined Kamala, but she's already ruined herself on this. And I don't understand how anybody can really truly think that she's going to even do remotely well in this race. I don't know how anybody could vote for her, but hey, we'll see what happens. We will see what happens. Crazy, man. Kamala makes you holla. I'm still riding with Biden. Biden is a rider. No, I'm just gonna definitely voting for Trump, that's for sure. And that's the way it goes, man. Yeah, I am a little tired. I probably shouldn't be doing any more of these tonight. I'm just burned out. Well, we got 22 votes on this, by the way. 64% of you say no. 23% of you say yes. 14% are undecided. I understand. I get it. But I want to make sure just of one thing. You guys got to make sure you subscribe to the channel. Really important.
Madam Vice President, thank you.
They call me witty. P. Diddy. Oh. They call me witty. You guys ready for me to get more simp subscribers? You guys need more simps? We need more simp subscribers, man. Hell yeah. I'm a simp. Cause I'm a simp for the simps. Well, I'm a pimp for the pimps. I'm a pimp for the pimps. I'm a simp for the simps. I'm gonna be uploading some Kamala Makes You Holla clips. I'm gonna use my AI video editor to splice up that interview with Kamala Makes You Holla, and we're gonna post it ASAP as short videos, so everybody gets to see Kamala Makes You Holla in her prime. Making this happen. I owe it to you. I owe it nothing to you. But thank you, people. They call me witty. P. Diddy. Treaties Bakery says, hi. I didn't see the interview. Can you give a brief summary? I'm about to release some short videos, and it was a train wreck. Kamala, I was hoping that Kamala would actually do an okay job. I was really actually kind of hoping, but I couldn't stand her. Throughout the interview, I felt like she gave bullshit answers, long-winded answers, just to stay on the same question, to distract the audience long enough. The only reason you give a long-winded answer that it basically says nothing is to kind of make people forget the original question. It's actually a really impressive tactic. So good on her for using it. But anyway, Corn Pop said the brief summary is Trump is a bad boy. 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 He wants to steal your toys. So Trump is a bad boy. Trump is a bad boy. He is so orange and scary. He is so orange and scary. Oh, he is so orange and he makes me hairy. I've got hairy palms for Trump daddy. For Trump daddy. I've got hairy palms for Trump daddy. Trump daddy. I've got hairy palms, because I think about Trump daddy all the time. I think about him and you call it a crime. Oh, I know what you're trying to say. Oh my God, you think that I'm gay. Oh, I love Daddy Trump. He makes me wanna hump, 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 hump. I love Donald Trump. He is so cool. He makes me want to go to school. He makes me want to learn all sorts of shit. He makes me want to rub on my clit. He makes me want to suck on my thumb. He makes me want to yum, yum, yum. I don't know what the hell he wants to do. All I know is I want to take a poo. I want to touch my butt. I want to touch my ass, and it makes me... Everybody wants to come. Everybody wants to say yum, yum. Everybody wants to come. Everybody says yum, yum, yum. Everybody wants to come, come, come. They want to come in my bum, bum, bum. Hey, yo, you want to come? Everybody wants to come in my bum because I keep talking about Trump and how cool he is. I know that you want to touch on my jizz. Put it in my ass and you'll make me feel good. Put it in my butt, and I know that you should. Put it in my butt, put it in my butt. Everybody wants to put it in my butt. Put it in my butt, put it in my butt. I don't know why everybody wants to put it in my butt. Oh, you don't know why. Why does everybody want to beg me? Why does everybody want to beg me? Please get away from my sexy booty. Please get away from my sexy booty. Why does everybody want to peg me? What do you peg me for? All I know is I'm a little gay. I'm too gay. Why do you think that I'm gay? I am not gay. Why are you gay? I am not gay. Why are you gay? I am not gay. Why are you gay? 'Cause I am not gay for Trump. I'm really gay for Trump. He makes me wanna hump. Treatsy says, let's check the polls, even though they don't matter. Well, the poll here says, subscribe now. Did Kamala Harris win this interview? And 65% of you say no. 22% of you say yes. 13% of you remain undecided. Make sure you subscribe to the channel. I need more subscribers, man. More subscribers, the more I can feel my tits on camera. We're getting more and more subscribers by the day. I love it. And yeah, they call me witty. P. Diddy, they call me witty. P. Diddy, they call me witty. P. Diddy. They call me witty, 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 witty. Corn Pop, I'm not even reading Corn Pop's comment, but definitely check it out. I'm afraid YouTube will ban me for actually saying it, but YouTube sucks. Corn Pop does say my poll is down when I see Kamala. That I could say. She's awful, dude. She's the worst. But I will catch you all later. I am a little bit exhausted. I gotta upload some short videos real quick, and I'll see you guys on the flip side. Might watch a little DS9. Anyway, get you all later. Bye.